Major shout out to the composer of that robotic violin story. We have Uber and Jake joining us for the grand finals of EU this week. Rivals Fight Night is about to feature Virtus.pro. And Jake, this is a special treat for everybody tuning in to our first broadcast. Why is Virtus.pro so good at the game?
They've just been dominant. I mean, they've been really impressive, you know, in pretty much all the competitions we've seen in Europe. There's a reason Virtus.pro snagged this squad so quickly, because they have just been putting up numbers. They've showing a ton of flexibility, a lot of depth in the team comp. That being said, I don't think Peps will be a pushover. This squad has shown real resilience in that last series.
Uber, we haven't seen any Magneto bans. I feel like I've seen them in every single game. Do you flip the strategy on its head if you take him out of the gameplay for Team Peps?
He's such an interesting hero in that what he provides, I think, is just so very helpful, and what he sort of provides is not really that egregious either. I think like Meteor M can be very powerful, but it is extremely skill dependent, and a lot of the time you can just shield it. So there's a ton of counterplay. And honestly, the heroes right now that are attracting the most bans through that phase, Pucker, are the ones with limited amounts of counterplay, because at this level, you have the resources and the experience to play around a Meteor M and the rest that Magneto can provide. He really is like a war of attrition based hero. It's the shock and awe heroes that maybe do things a little bit out of the ordinary, or have this mobility that perhaps has just crept too far over the line, that are getting looked at through the ban phase, as well as those healers with absurd throughput.
Great call out there. Shout out to everyone who's in the stream tonight. We're live on Twitter as well as YouTube, and right here on Twitch. Leg Day in the chat. Lemon Kiwi in the chat. We are getting invaded by Brits and I guess French Canadians. Jake, as we jump into this game, we have a lot of pride for the French fans. They were spamming the chat earlier. We saw flags galore. Why is Peps such a fan favorite?
I mean, I think this is just an exciting team to watch. Like, not only do they bring the heat on an individual basis, we saw like huge performances out of like Hardest, for example, with, you know, the big plays he's able to make, especially with that Winter Soldier ultimate. But at the same time, I think it's the team play that I really love out of Team Peps. Like, they are really sick at, you know, regrouping together in all the chaos that Marvel Rivals brings. This team, they don't get separated. They find a way through.
You had some fantastic heals coming in from Natlox and Switch, who is super crucial on the Luna Snow. We'll see him in just a bit. On the other side of this matchup, though, let's take a look at the most famous team in Europe right now. Sparker has three gamer tags in the top 10 on the global rankings. The man is putting in all kinds of time, Jake.
Yeah, Sparker is a beast. You don't want to sleep on anyone on this roster. This is a super stacked team. This is pretty much like all the best players in Europe came together to make this roster to be the juggernaut, you know, to be our defending champion is really, I think, a natural position for Virtus.pro right now.
And of course, we've got two fantastic off tanks in Finzi and Nevix. They're teaming up once again, this time for Virtus.pro. What do you think of the front line here, Uber?
I mean, one of them is a world champion, so I'll say that much. You know, and Finzi is no slouch either. I mean, these guys are amazing. Nevix, someone who, you know, right back at the start of when Marvel Rivals was trying to push these tournaments, was already like top of the leaderboards. Both these players, I think you've got, you know, two of the best sort of shield tanks, you know, in Europe. I think outside of that, this team is extremely cracked. They've got the quality. They did drop a map to Peps, though, recently, I think, in the MRI, the Marvel Rivals.
They can bleed.
Marvel Rivals Invitational, excuse me.
So they can bleed. We haven't seen them lose, though. And as we jump into this one, right away, Wolverine out of the map, Jake. Smart plays here.
I'm pretty sure Virtus.pro is on the right, guys.
I'm thinking that might be VP because the Hella. That's Peps' auto veto.
Virtus.pro is on the right here. They do not want to deal with the Wolverine. They agree with me. I like this. So we're going to see already a very different series. So far, Peps sticking with their guns, though. The instant Hella ban, still not something they want to deal with, Wolverine or not.
No more?
Protect the storm.
Okay. Backline beware.
Do we know what the map this is? Did we see the map?
I don't think we saw the map set yet, but we're going to a domination, right? For the pre-selected first map. The Luna Snow Protect comes out. Interesting, because
Heaven.
You want to survive that storm ult, all right? That's
survive the storm multi, and just in general. I mean, Luna Snow really stabilized the game, but no two Luna Snow ultimates, all right? They're taking mercy on you, Puckett.
No Loki.
They heard you. You get one Luna Snow ultimate, absolute maximum.
Gonna have 6 hours of invulnerability, not 24 hours, and Namor is gone. So Dives, welcome to the game. who is going to take first blood. It's a best of 7, $1,000 on the line. Once again, if you're just joining us, please hit that follow button. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. This is night number 1, and we're coming at you every Thursday with your favorite teams. If you have a suggestion of who you want to see on the show, hit up my guy at TempoZP. Yes, he hasn't rebranded yet. It's still at TempoZP on Twitter. Let him know who you want to see on the stream. For now, we send it over. It's Uber and Jake. Game number 1, Rivals Fight Night EU Final.
Thank you very much, Carl. Was that his Heroes of the Storm team? Come on, that's
a throwback. That's a throwback.
Crazy. That's like me calling myself an ESL caster. Like we are reaching, guys. We are going back a long way. Here we go, folks. Your best of 7 Marvel Rivals Fight Night number 1 for EU. It's Team Peps in the blue. Virtus.pro finally taking to the stage here on the red side of the map, and I am ready to see them throw down. Ready to see Sparker click some heads. He and Fire, deadly combination here at the duelist role.
Yeah, this is our first look at Virtus.pro of the night. Team Peps also are going to be forced off of their Comfort Wolverine. We'll see what the next best option is for them. For now, leave over to the Winter Soldier. Both teams prioritizing that Winter Soldier, really valuing that playmaking potential.
Hold will get you over to the left-hand side, so at least sort of fundamentally gives you a little bit of that high ground, of course. And just being quicker to the punch here on this map is going to be crucial. Fenzi pushed pretty far forward, and Sparker takes a pretty passive angle, honestly, amongst all of this. Pretty mindful of a lot of the poke damage that could come through. It's Peps that are still working with a quasi-dive component, but they've got that Adam Warlock and Star-Lord team up here, Jake.
Yeah, first pickup, though, found onto the Groot, and that's a lot of the front line already down. So Virtus.pro watching the flankers, not able to help their front line in that moment. Still trying to fight this back from a 5v6.
Still contesting the point. They have not given it up fully to Peps. They might, though, have to now, as Nevix is still coming back on that respawn. They want to rotate through, of course, as after the point is capped, we start to see the point itself become more elevated. To the dodge away there from the cellular corrosion, as everybody respecting, especially the squishies, what Teemo can do. And his hardest going down. Fire is able to find damage from a pretty safe spot and cut Peps down to 5.
Yeah, it's a very front-to-back play style. The res comes in, but huge pop from Virtus.pro, charging in together, and the one res doesn't mean much in the face of a team wipe. That's one of the faster pops I've seen in Marvel Rivals. Virtus.pro bringing the heat.
Yeah, I mean, very quickly they have reasserted themselves, and Fight didn't have to reinvent the wheel there. He's just kind of aiming here from his own front line. And Team Peps, without much of a shield outside of what Magneto could provide, which has obviously been nerfed, right? The duration or the frequency that he can throw up that stream is much less now. Hardest trying to make his way through here. Some of those walls there, a bit annoying, can be used by Fire here to sort of peer down a little bit further. As here comes the Galactic Legend, instantly counted out by the invisible boundary.
Yeah, just a 1-for-1. Virtus.pro happy to trade those strategist ultimates on the point with control. Fi helping to punish that Venom overextending. And now Sparker got to be thinking about potentially looking for the Kraken impact, but maybe not even necessary. Team Peps are sent packing to the spawn, and Virtus.pro, I mean, they are explosive when they attack.
And they are now starting to get out to a pretty comfortable lead. Kraken impact, fate of both worlds here. Drudra, of course, been a sort of healer player for a long time. Finzi, though, you know, in the past used to be a bit of a duelist and also flexed a lot. So seeing him now, obviously, as a shield tank for Virtus.pro. Huh, they grow up so fast. Here comes the push for Peps, though, onto the point now. Shu does have the Meteor available, but bloody hell, those Groot walls are a problem. And Teemo got cut off from the rest of Peps and then dispatched.
Shield in his face. He can't find a window through with the Meteor M. Just throws it for a little splash damage on the backline. But Virtus.pro are sitting on a bank of 5 ultimates. They're just winning this fight easily, safely, comfortably. This is not what I expected so far in the match. And now they strike with the Kraken impact. Sparker getting into the mix.
Painting those eliminations together. And now they're looking for the Adam Warlock. You could see desperately, I think, the heals for Peps were trying to get in position, but the Karmic Revival was only used to bring back one player. It was the Venom. That is a low value Adam Warlock ultimate, and even with that team up, Jake, it's been very hard for Team Peps to take any edges on that round.
I mean, VP just played that immaculately. You know, we've seen in many other tournaments, this Adam Warlock, Star-Lord, and Mantis team up really dominate the meta with like every team playing it, you know, really utilizing those reses. It felt so powerful. But the way Team VP win these fights is dominant. I mean, they're just like when they find one pickoff, they immediately get a team wipe. They're somehow crashing over their opposition more quickly than we've seen anybody else do. The execution is that clean that these reses just don't matter. They don't have the tempo.
Man, what a showing so far. Finzi, Nevix looking dangerous there. Even though Nevix was the first pick off, only Nevix, Fire, and Cyper actually got picked off over the course of that whole round. Really impressive stuff from VP. They look more decisive than what we've seen so far, and as good as Peps have looked, and they have looked good, they've now got to go away from the Adam Warlock. They can't afford to bring that lower throughput healer in just to get the revival capacity for the Star-Lord.
And a quick TP on the point. Finzi really valuing getting here early, but it's the high ground taken for Team Peps, putting them in a strong position as they swap over to the mirror match.
Oh, Kraken Impact did end up hitting on a Finzi, but the healing is so good. Oh, the invisible boundary. Peps could not penetrate through it. And now Finzi's coming in. Ayavagamoto, he's going to be knocked off course, though. So that ultimate ultimately fizzles. And up in the sky goes hardest, but he gets cut down. Oh, that is crazy. Roster Stone is not a hit scan weapon. That is a projectile weapon, and he's still able to take down an airborne target with such effectiveness.
I mean, Sparker's just a beast on this. And you know, the challenge for Team Peps is they've had to make a lot of swaps. Now they're going to pass the Winter Soldier over to Hardest with how impactful he was in that last series. I don't blame them. Leaf going to make the swap over to the Storm. But BP have just been sticking with their guns, and it has been amazing.
And here's Fire.
Oh,
eyes there on that locks and switch. He's looking at that backline, but probably spotted out there. At least Timo trying to make sure Fire is aware that he's been put on notice, noticing him. Oh, great wall. Look at the wall. It cuts off all of the strategists. Oh, they're so good. Natlocks eventually broke through the wall only to be impaled by an oaken spear. Virtus.pro are on a different level.
Okay, we may be in for a very dominant money match as Peps, I mean, they fought their way through so valiantly against Luminosity Gaming, and right now, Virtus.pro are just eating them for breakfast.
This is stunning. They're already at half of their captured total that they need. Sparker close to another Kraken Impact. Fire close to another Galactic Legend. You've got all of your Duelist ultimates ready to go here. Peps had better be quick here on that Invisible Woman ultimate, but look at the poke damage they're taking. This is intense pressure being put on them. The walls now, of course, being thrown up here to give a breach potentially. Fire a little bit low, but he's going to go in for this now as a Mega Hurricane is going to be used by Leaf. Will there be an answer? Fire taken down by a man cannon though, and here is a Hurricane. There's healing though. Cypher does pop that invisible boundary, and there it is, strangling prison into the Kraken Impact. Big connection, but enough healing to keep Peps above that threshold to deny any resets. And now with the Meteor Ram, they're able to break back into the game.
And they weren't able to pop that enemy Luna Snow. So for the first time, Virtus.pro properly beaten back, properly cleared out of the map, and Team Peps have an opportunity to take the position.
Hardest there with that free reset. Happy to be done and dusted, and now Peps are in the game, but have a look, Jay. They spent it all. They threw good money after bad in order just to stay in the game, and they're facing down an Ayavagamoto here, which again can be countered. Natlocks can also, of course, push back that Doctor Strange and deny the AoE. It's a Galactic Legend that I'd be terrified of. This is exactly where you look to get use with that ultimate. Fire's the one to watch here. This could be dangerous. Nice shield. I like how that's been thrown up there just to give that sustain. But there is not going to be enough here, and Team Peps have to back off the point entirely. I like to see the challenge here from the Storm. Leaf ties Fire up for a time, and there are actually no knockouts coming off that ultimate.
Nonetheless, though, it did cost them the flip. So Virtus.pro back in the time advantage here, able to stall the fight out, build towards the next ultimate. This Ayavagamoto, Finzi absolutely going to be looking for it here, wants to be watchful for all the counterplay, but it's running low for Team Peps. They're trying to stabilize, they're popping ultimates, but is it enough to turn this fight around?
They try and burst down Leaf in the middle of that Omega Hurricane. Here it is. Great answer. Once again, Natlocks has been good at shutting that down, but the Kraken Impact, that's another story entirely. Sparker looking for reset after reset. 3 knockouts there, and that will be the end of our first map. A one-sided showing here. Hell's Heaven goes the way of VP.
And if I'm Luminosity Gaming right now, I'm like, guys, why didn't we just ban Wolverine? This is a very different match. Team Peps now coming into Virtus.pro's wheelhouse, and it's clear who's stronger on this style.
Oh, man, it did not feel particularly close there. Cypher MVP over the game, and I do think these invisible boundaries have been pretty instrumental. Storm's very effective. She's got great sustained damage, but, you know, just the burst impulse damage on that Omega Hurricane is enough to be, or rather, it can be counted out by even that Invisible Woman ultimate. Big healing from Cypher. Dridro perhaps more offensively tuned in this particular game, but overall great showing here. Nevix on the Groot is definitely something that has to be looked very closely at, I think, for Team Peps, because the impact was undeniable.
That's insane damage for a Vanguard, right? To be putting out pretty much as much as the duelists on Vanguard. This is why we see Groot prioritized, especially when they're able to fight those choke points. It felt like VP's understanding of that map was really strong. They knew exactly where Peps would come from. They were ready to defend that choke successfully. And then, when Peps come to the same spot, defend the same choke, VP just completely on the opposite side of the map. They're slipping into the mid fight and starting it on even footing. So not only is the individual mechanics on a high level for VP, but they're playing the game with a real strategic mastery right now.
Oh man, I mean, brutal stuff. You saw Timo, by the way, died 7 times at the end of that map in the end, which is a huge amount. Timo, not a feeder by any stretch of the imagination, but getting burst down very, very quickly. Out of nowhere, basically, we're seeing Virtus.pro just being able to snap their heads about 180 and look at that Groot as they try and step up. Frequent Kraken impacts from Sparker definitely help. The resets. Cleaning up these fights is really important on domination, because once your opponents have control of the point, they can stagger, they can stall, they can throw a player here, there, and keep control. But Virtus.pro only lost control very briefly, and while we were getting pretty excited about, Fire coming in with that Galactic Legend at the end of this round, Jake, it forced a disengage. No kills, but that was enough for Virtus.pro to flip the point back, and it looked as good as a team fight win, because from there on out, they were unmovable.
Yeah, I think it comes back to that, the one fight they're able to flip the point, it cost them a full dump of 6 ultimates. And against a team like VP that wisely kept a few things in the tank, even though they won that fight, it was a Pyrrhic victory. The game was tilting too far against them for them to bring it back on domination.
That was faster than I expected. Okay, Virtus.pro trying to get us back on schedule. Mad respect, Nevix. Question number 1. This comes from YouTube. I saw someone asking, why is he putting the walls like this? So Jake, can you explain that? Yeah. Why do you see that at high level gameplay?
So the thing about there's 2 walls the Groot can build. He builds the small ones and the much larger one. The small ones, they're a little bit tanky, but not so much. Pretty easy to damage through. So they're not so useful at actually stopping the enemy's progress. Occasionally you can use them for that. It's not so bad. But the real value they give is when you attack an enemy in range of a wall, the wall itself reaches out and does damage. So by putting them all around on the ceilings above choke points, the enemy, yes, they can walk out the choke point. They're not blocked, but as soon as they come out, you start attacking them on Groot, and that's where you see that insane damage coming from Groot, because the walls are continuing to contribute. So you almost want those small walls to be hidden away so that it's not so easy for the enemy to break them, and then you use that big ironwood wall to actually, slam the door on that choke point when you want to close it off.
Yeah, walls can do damage. Who knew? All right, we're jumping right into this. It's Spider Island, and once again, they don't want to see Hela ever. And I don't think you're ever going to see Wolverine on Leaf again. I'm sorry. So, Peps, what do you do? Do you have another trick up your sleeve? Uber, what's your expectation here?
Okay, I mean, I don't think we'll see too much different in terms of how these protects end up looking. Lunar Snow has been protected in this kind of game, and I think that if you're Pep, as good as Timo is, you might want to consider trying to deal with the Groot, because they are a problem. We sort of talked about where they're so effective, right? The Thornlash walls being thrown up, just adding to your damage potential. But we are protecting the Loki. So
sorry, Bucket.
Being promoted by a French contingent here. I don't know how to feel about it.
Bro, I got a war. Loki, don't mind me, Jake. I'm a big fan of seeing it. Unfortunately, we're going to see a whole lot of invulnerability. So with that said, how many knockouts does Sparker finish with?
I'm gonna say final blows or just in general knockouts.
Let's go final blows. Let's keep it a lower number, shall we?
I'm gonna say he's gonna have 22 on this match.
22 final blows. Chat, get your predictions in. Once again, this is Sparker, the guy with 3 top 10 placements on our global leaderboard. How many will he finish with? He just led the lobby in game 1. Uber, we're not going to see Storm. We're not going to see Psylocke. The backline's pretty safe.
It's a shame. I do wonder. I mean, that's the experience of these 2 teams playing against each other that has sort of denied the Psylocke. It might be a Sparker pick. We haven't seen it yet, so that definitely tells us there's something to look forward to later in this series. It might have emerged through scrims at some point, but Spider Islands, man, I'm here for it. We need to see Pep step up in a big way, because Virtus.pro have their fundamentals really nailed down, and honestly, the depth of their hero pools means that they can kind of do whatever.
Here we go. Let's jump on in. Game number 2, Virtus.pro, 3 maps away from claiming $1,000, the first prize here on Rival Fight Night. Pretty sure we're loading in. Take it away, Uber.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, it's a best of 4, or rather a best of 7, excuse me. So first to 4 in this case. Draws are very, very rare, but possible, I suppose, in this game. Up comes VP. There will be defending.
No roll lock, Mitch. Triple Vanguard.
Yeah, okay. I am here. I'm here for it.
This is innovative. We haven't seen this all day today. We'll see what VP can run. I mean, with how good they were on the last map, they're not running this because of a lack of skill on the duelist. They really believe in this style. And I mean, to be honest, these 3 Vanguards also put out pretty serious damage of their own.
And you can see also, like, those group walls can be used as bridges to get yourself up onto the high ground that also participate in combat if not destroyed. So a lot of value you can get from a great Groot player. Sparker goes down first, though, as the Monstro spawns need to be respected, and Fire might be trying to look for them now. They've spotted out the flanker, but they get dragged down by that bionic arm. Leaf making sure that Fire cannot move effortlessly across the map. That's another pick here, and VP's triple Vanguard attempt, Jake, has been broken.
Yeah, I mean, and I think losing your one duelist first is actually really brutal in this comp. There's a lot of pressure on Sparker to deliver tons of damage with this kind of front line in front of him. So if you're able to snipe that duelist down early, yeah, you got a ton of front line, but they're not doing so much if they're not protecting a key damage dealer like Winter Soldier.
TP comes in, excuse me, and Virtus.pro going to dive straight on through that. Once again, the group wall's going to work. That Ironwood wall definitely going to be a factor now as Spy normally on a duelist trying to take control of this high ground now and make it harder for Hardest to set up and throw these javelins for free. Definitely it'll be hard to shift this very high health pool body from this high ground, but here we go. They have a copy in play. Cypher looks like it's going to be a strategist ultimate that does get duplicated, and Horde Proteus gets thrown on in. Teemo finally falls, but it's at the cost of Finzi, and now with a Kraken impact in play, Leaf was hoping to run away with the game, but gets interrupted halfway through. Nevik stunned briefly, but Sparker is down, so only one Winter Soldier remains, and that is the man on your screen. Eye of Agamotto catches only on a Natlocks here, and it's going to be tough to catch this Loki out, but Fire has to follow up damage to remove the strategist from the game. A lot of shields in play, a lot of those Leaf trying to work his way through, and eventually Nevix must succumb. A ridiculous amount of damage as the duelists for Peps are still alive and kicking.
Yeah, they're really starting to chunk through, and this triple Vanguard setup so far hasn't worked. VP still fighting valiantly here on the point. Sparker considering going for a clutch with this Kraken impact, thinking about it, is going to rip it here. Could potentially stabilize this. There's very little defense left in the game.
Okay, well, Rejuvenation Domain is going to get popped, but there are still resets to be had for Sparker, trying to line up these impacts. The damage is good, but desperately, Dridro trying to heal Sparker, keep him in the game. Eventually, though, he's got to fall. Finzi gets into the fray, and Cyper's going to be able to buy some time now with that Fate of Both Worlds, enough for the Thing to get into the fight. It might not be too late still. Strangling Prison used there now, but Cyper, of course, offering a ton of healing, and a massive knockout comes in. Finzi is a problem, and Eye of Agamotto there. That's a big one from Shu. It's going to turn the fight as hardest with the... Sorry. Comes in with the Iron Fist. Okay.
I mean, even Iron Fist can kind of go crazy on this triple Vanguard setup, right? Like, Iron Fist is actually deceptively tanky. You need a pretty serious amount of burst to get through him. He almost has that ultimate online. So a bit of a counter pick, tech pick coming out for Team Peps. And I will say, as much as they get that cap, and it felt like they won every fight back-to-back, Virtus.pro still ran the clock down over 3 minutes on that first point.
That's quite significant. I mean, I'm very curious how this Iron Fist sort of works out. We know Living She is a very powerful ability, and it's pretty easy to trigger Dragon's defense off these like messy fights. So you of course have access to great mobility and pretty impressive damage output as well. Shu just got chunked down low, but Nevix is the one that is brought to heal. He doesn't survive that damage output now, and Teemo, although getting dragged in with the bionic arm, is able to walk away with the help of his E. Finzi is down. That's the issue though for Virtus.pro. And here comes the Iron Fist. My good, Harness is absolutely looking for a fight. Can't get another assassination done though, but Teemo has a Feast of the Abyss at the ready.
Yeah, and Team Peps now are really taking it to Virtus.pro, putting on the aggression. I think Fi switching over to the Namor makes a lot of sense trying to defend, but there's a big ultimate tempo here for Team Peps to get snowballed through this second point.
Teemo frozen up. Low does not have that shield available, so you're going to require the static shield of Shu thrown in his way. Hardest looking for a Living Chi opener, surely. Into the back line we go. Pressure now being put down on Cypet. Looks like if there was a freeze, it missed, and Leaf in the meantime gonna drop his way in with a massive Kraken impact. Teemo coming from the other side, chomping through them. With that Feast of the Abyss is gonna cut this VP team down to half. Fi under extreme pressure, taken very low. And it's only the clones to be cleared now.
All right, Leaf showing that he can really tango on this Winter Soldier as well. And this map pick proves to be a real difference maker here for Team Peps. They look a lot more comfortable here on Spider Islands.
Uphill battle here for Team Peps, but they've really made up a lot of time in that last phase of the map. We're definitely looking towards some of these ultimates now, as Saiped does, of course, have the ability to copy that Fate of both worlds. So plenty of healing for VP and a strangling prison at the ready for Nevix. Finzy needs to stay alive, though. That's the issue. Hardest is such a problem on his Iron Fist. Surely VP have encountered this in scrims, but it doesn't seem to matter. Still has Living Chi at the ready. This is the kind of pick you see so rarely. It feels like such a specialist choice here, but for Hardest, he's making it look easy.
Copied Lunasto ultimate from Saipe, trying to turn on the aggression here. No defensive ultimates available for Team Peps. They've got to just endure this with their cooldowns. Seems to be a little too much to ask for right now. Sparker sweeping over them with the Kraken impact resets.
Yeah, jumps on in, just clearing clones because you never know who they might be. And look, I mean, that combo was pretty impressive. We saw a strangling prison combined with Horn of Proteus, and recovering from that is hard enough without there being a Kraken impact dump on top of it. VP hit the wombo combo, but it's still over 2 minutes for Peps to finish the map.
Yeah, and see it, the Iron Fist ends up going for this ultimate. Hasn't found the window to get it in here. Finzy with that Eye of Agamotto on the other side. Something to worry about. No invisible woman to push that Doctor Strange away.
That's a great point. You can't displace him. It's scary. Here's a Living Chi, though. Hardest looking to go in, and unfortunately, they make a very quick exit as well. Bionic Arm catches him out and renders him virtually useless. Spark has been so critical on that Winter Soldier so far. Peps now down to 5 players. Of course, have the ability to duplicate another of those big healing ultimates. They've got plenty to work with. An Eye of Agamotto here, though, is going to have to be used by Shu. And it would be nice if he hadn't taken a javelin to the face. He used to be an adventurer. Now he's back to spawn.
Yeah, it's a great catch from VP. Nevix, that wall, cutting the opponents apart for just a second, and it's enough. However,
Squirrel Girl!
The fight back.
Sorry! Hardest comes back off spawn with Squirrel Girl. Is able to find a quick double there, but a dirty Horn of Proteus once again will be combined with a Kraken impact. There may not be resets here, but Team Peps are running on fumes. They've got a Fate of both worlds, and they're hoping to use it to gain some progress, but once that expires, they're going to be much more exposed. Big Eye of Agamotto, but everybody back around the corner and able to recover on Virtus.pro. Kraken impact for Leaf. Doesn't see any targets low enough to finish, though, and has to use it more defensively. There's a strangling prison here for Nevix. Should it need to be used? And yeah, he pops it straight away, but was it too early? No, Eye of Agamotto combos, and that is disgusting.
Oh my God, the Eye of Agamotto slamming down on that strangling prison. That's a sick wombo combo. And Team Peps, team wipe back to the spawn. And Hardest on the Squirrel Girl. I gotta say, I didn't have this on my bingo card today, Mitch. I'm excited to see what kind of damage he can work. It is pretty good at clearing those Namor spawns.
Are you ready for the unbeatable Squirrel Tsunami, Jake?
We are coming. Oh, it's coming.
We're getting closer and closer to it. Let's see how this goes. Yep, thank you very much. We need Hardest POV. We need it now. Here comes the Squirrel Tsunami thrown on in. Can it be dealt with? Hardest wants to push up here. Virtus.pro, they're looking pretty healthy. Kraken impact at the ready, but not much else to combine it with. Horn of Proteus, though, just around the corner. Here we go. Dropping on in, getting that reset. Bam, that is dirty stuff. And there's more where that came from. Once again, Team Peps are going to basically implode under the VP Wombo combo. They've had it 3 consecutive fights, it seems, or at least it feels that way, and they will stop Peps in their tracks.
The Squirrel Girl came out. It didn't really do anything, but it was there. We saw it.
She was present. She was definitely marked as attending, Jake. I will say, the Mammal Bond is pretty powerful, and you can obviously sort of lock people in place with that Squirrel blockade, but yeah, maybe it was just to clear the Groot walls, honestly.
Oh my, that combo is sick. That's what we missed on cam with Leaf having that Kraken impact with the help of the Venom ultimate comboing together. And I mean, those players were full HP. There's no way the strategist could you know, pop an ult so early to defend against that. And they just get almost one shot by that timing.
I mean, we saw a couple. I mean, we're seeing in this game a lot more of those combinations here. It all those starts with the Groot. Strangling Prison is the precursor to these massive team wipes. Finzy with the 5K, 5-player Eye of Agamotto, though it seemed, was was pretty disgusting. Because I wondered, Nevix got caught out, I think pulled in by a bionic arm, Drake, and I was like, this seems a little bit premature going for this prison, but I guess it didn't matter. There was plenty to combat with at the fingertips of VP.
You know, it's interesting that VP, they came out on this triple Vanguard setup, and I was curious to see, like, would it work? And it just completely fell flat. I wonder if this means we'll see more and more teams really stick to their guns with this 2-2-2 setup that seems to be dominant in the meta right now. This isn't about restrictions being imposed on the game. This is just what the players feel is the strongest.
Yep. VP won't have fire on the Doctor Strange, though. They will, of course, be blowing that tower up as soon as possible. Just really gets in the way. Leaf here playing up close to the corner now as Virtus.pro don't make any changes after peeking out of spawn. They know what they're dealing with here, and I like that. Good catch here on Nevix. He's frozen as well. So much CC, and yet Groot just, well, he just trundles his way through it. Shrugs it off, and now we're back to business for Virtus.pro. Although the front line is definitely getting pressured. Dredro copying a ton of damage there, and that stun on Finzi is followed up on well.
Leaf has been great on the Winter Soldier. That's a nice pull in, leading to a pickoff, and VP getting pushed back in front of their own spawn here. So Team Peps really asserting dominance right now on the defense.
Peps going to be able to make their way out from behind this cover when they need to and take the fight to VP as they advance now, though it's getting a little bit messy. Fire and Sparker quite low for the time being. And here's going to be a copied ultimate. Natlox is able to get a Fate of Both Worlds down, and that's the window that Peps need to pick up fire first. So that's a name or difference now established, but Dredro still opts to go for his Lunar Snow ultimate as well. Finzi wasn't able to be healed there. I wonder if he was actually anti-healed in that window. But Shu goes down. Headshot there by Rosterstern. And yep, it's time for some resets. Folks, strap yourselves in. It's about to get ugly.
Oh, massive cleanup from Sparker, but nonetheless, this was Team Peps, happy to lose this fight, right? Like throwing this away in front of the attacker spawn, almost a minute 30 burned off the clock. That's a big win for Team Peps.
Okay, TP to be thrown in pretty much straight away. Timo, okay, that's death from a. Oh my goodness, the bionic arm catch is so good. Natlox doesn't have the time to develop a clone or TP to it. He was dead to rights.
That was so sick from Finzi. He knew the enemy team would Strange Portal to come back into the fight, so he put his own Strange Portal, and they're peeking down from above on the defender spawn there, denying them from taking the portal. That was the play we just saw. So Finzi totally read that play, saw it coming a mile away, and punished with a very creative, aggressive Strange Portal.
That takes some time to set up as well. You need to move that portal across the map. So Finzi has to basically go for that immediately after the end of that last fight. Crazy stuff. These guys are on a different level, man. I'm not going to lie. That looks a little bit low here. Sparker's able to be kept alive because to the rescue comes a Saipe with that duplicated ultimate. Auto Proteus claims Sparker. Still a 5v5. Strangling Prison thrown up, and here comes this. Oh, last one. Sorry, did somebody order sushi? Bam! 3 for 5 as that whale belly flops onto the entirety of Team Peps. And here's the checkpoint for VP.
Yeah, VP back to their ways. The combos are so clean. They set up with the Groot ultimate, the Strangling Prison, sets everyone up, groups them together, and then Fi not only drops the Hornet Proteus, but gets that little bit of damage amp from the copied Luna Snow ultimate from Saipe, and that allows them to just completely burst through the healing throughput that Team Peps is bringing to bear.
Man, Peps look a little shell-shocked here. For me, it was the counter TP from Finzi, but that last fight, they really dominated Peps. Timo wants to push up here, trying to set up some walls, but a little bit low, and that rejuvenation domain means that Virtus.pro's frontline could shrug off any damage that was coming their way. Here's the Fate of Both Worlds, though. Kraken Impact already used by the sounds of things. Leaf has that one available, but it's Sparker that is trying to land some of these big hits. Eye of Agamotto, what a massive counter here. Can Virtus.pro withstand this? Finzi is stunned up, but the healing is absolutely mental because it's Saipe that comes in with a Fate and Sparker with the resets.
Has a very nice defensive Eye of Agamotto from Finzi. We've seen how many times these top-level teams are able to deal with the Doctor Strange trying to dive into the backline, which was the conventional use for the Eye of Agamotto. This time he uses it to shut down that Winter Soldier ultimate that could have snowballed out of control. So I love that usage from Finzi with, the way players have adapted to this Doctor Strange ultimate. It's a new perspective that I really like.
We're going to have Auto Proteus from both sides here, but crucially, Fate of Both Worlds up for Saipe. Can use it aggressively here, I think, just to try and take this space. And at what point is there going to be a touch here? Oh, buddy, Finzi goes in. A massive maelstrom. And a second checkpoint clocked in for VP.
And we talked about Team Peps, how good they are with their positioning in the last series, how, they don't get caught split. But from Virtus.pro, the Wombo combos, the ultimate executions, we've seen so many of these fights stalled out incredibly long, but not in this series. I mean, VP is fantastic at closing this out, finding a massive sweep of eliminations and getting a ton of objective progress out of it.
Fire picked off there, someone inexplicably, but it doesn't seem to matter because the backline is dead. Sorry, what? Team Peps were hoping to set up here, come from a different angle, but they get blown to smithereens by strategists. Dredro with Ice Arts just found 2. What is going on?
I mean, the pressure is overwhelming. Finzi going for a spawn blocking TP here. See if he can get it up in time to deny these defenders the chance to get out from the spawn. Oh. Seems like a few players have already gotten out though, so they will be getting a fight here, trying to hold on at the end of the map. But VP are putting so much pressure on here, Mitch.
Yeah, absolutely. We are uphill already. Hardest is trying to work on the periphery here and deal with these Saipe clones, which can really start to add up in terms of that damage that they can put out. Fine, ignoring for the time being the other Namor, and here it is, cracking impact once more, and we are cracking Team Peps wide open. That fate of both worlds for Dredro, for Switch rather, comes in way too late. There is no backup with that healing ultimate in play, and there we go, folks. Virtus.pro get themselves home and take Spider Islands.
VP, they're just masterful at killing through these strategist ultimates. We've seen so many teams just unable to find eliminations when the strategist ult comes out. We've been, kind of lambasting how ridiculous it is when you've got the copied Luna Snow ultimate and everyone's unkillable for 24 hours. But Virtus.pro are not afraid of it. They have the timings, the execution, the confidence to be able to burst through those strategist ultimates. That's something that you don't even see in top level rank. That's kind of professional play only. And so far, VP's been the one team in the world that I've seen consistently pull off those combos.
They've given us everything. They've given us some crazy
22 final hits, Mitch. 22 final hits.
You're dead right.
I'm buying a lottery ticket, baby.
Nailed it. Jake on the mic with the call. What another game out of Sparker, and what a performance out of Virtus.pro. I thought it was going to be close, and then it wasn't. Virtus.pro taking care of business. Uber, as we take a look at some of the highlights here, can we just highlight the Bucky play? Because I feel like this is going to be a mainstay for the rest of the night.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think that being able to get these resets gives you like multiple instances of area of effect burst damage. It is ridiculous. So even if your opponents are, using a Lunar Snow ultimate and being healed up, you as a Winter Soldier can still apply the debuff to everybody inside that field of effect, and then you just wait out the ultimate to expire, and you're guaranteed to get reset after reset. And anybody who dares step out of the confines of that, that healing ultimate, you can see and then flatten. This was incredible stuff. I'm sorry, Saipe has such a good game. I mean, when it really counts, there are always max clones set up just to rain damage down. I think these rejuvenation domains have been perfect when they've had to answer these instances of burst damage. They've had a fantastic game. In general, like Virtus.pro, on all cylinders, are absolutely firing.
Teamwork makes the dream work. We're going to ask the chat to help us out. Jake, we've had some fantastic combos. What's the most devastating to be on the receiving end?
I just think the most satisfying combo to watch is when Groot hits the Strangling Prison and Namor comes in with the Horn of Proteus. We're going to see it right here on your screen. Ooh. Like, what do we call that, chat? We need the brainstorm from the people, the community.
I mean, that is surf and turf, buddy.
Surf and turf. Yes, Mitchell. Yes, Mitchell.
Yes, Mitch. This is why they pay Mitch the big bucks.
He has done it.
In the bank.
We have found it. Chat, can you beat the surf and turf? That is the question. Also, I saw a few other combos that were going on, like the Winter Venom. I call it the slap and tickle. Slap and nibble? Yep, I don't know. Help us out here. Winter Soldier Groot, ground and pound, the sticky slam, Bucky's bad touch, hamburger helper.
Okay, whoa, well, that one is crazy. Who comes up with hamburger helper?
It may have been me.
Bucky tenderizes them and Venom eats them. It's
crazy.
That's a sick call out.
What should we name the combos? Let us know in the chat. Uber, I know you gotta run here shortly.
Dude.
Can we keep it for one more?
I told the nanny to hang around. I'm not missing this game. You know what I mean? I'm here till the end. I've decided.
We're keeping Uber. Great news. He's paying out of pocket, and for good reason. He is witnessing fantastic gameplay, and it's not just the front line. It's not just Sparker on the Duelist. It is a team effort. Jake, I'm not letting Cypex play on Loki ever again. That is my insta-ban if I'm Peps moving forward. What do you think they could do to get back in this series? Because this is David versus Goliath.
Is it I think it's the Loki. I also think the Groot is something you might want to target, because you think about the source of a lot of these wombo combos is if you can't lock the enemy down and group them all up, then it's much more difficult to get that, Namor Horn of Proteus with the damage amplification from the Luna Snow's ultimate. It's like that. There's a lot of factors coming together to make that happen. But without Groot, you're not hitting on 3, 4, 5 enemies. It's not nearly as devastating to the team fight. And I have to imagine with how good that VP have been playing with the Groot, it might be something that Peps want to take out of play.
All right, Peps with the pick. Remember, loser gets to choose all the way throughout this best of 7. So Peps choosing our maps. And now it's time for our ban and protect. Hella, the Insta-Pep ban. Makes it, 7 for 7. Well done, guys.
Bro, okay. All right, I thought they skipped the ban, but the Wolverine makes a ton more sense. I would expect to see like Groot here, surely, for Peps. They've got to get that out of here. It's too much.
Can VP, they have such a sick comp here. It's not really reliant on like the team ups per se. I mean, there's the Namor team up, but I think the reason that they protect the Luna Snow is the critical that, most people think of the Luna Snow ultimate as pumping so much heals, right? And allowing everyone to sustain through the damage. But the fact that you can switch it over to a damage amplification, that's what's allowing them to one-hit these opponents with Namor's Horn of Proteus. And I think there's other support ultimates that have the same level of sustain, but this is the only one that gives you that kind of damage amp that can affect Namor's Horn of Proteus, allowing you to one-hit the opponents through their strategy assaults. And that's been a consistent theme. Namor is banned. So Peps, I think, also aware the threat that combo is posing in these key teams.
Surf and turf gone off the table, Mitch.
No, my baby. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I think like they're more obviously also just the team up is really effective. And what I also can do to Luna Snow subtly just makes her even more effective at healing. Not that she wasn't already. So is this Shin Shibuya or Midtown? I'm trying to guess. Midtown.
It's very tiny letters. Yeah, we're definitely going to be playing on the Fantastic Four map. And Jake, I think you nailed it. Like, as good as this game is competitively, just the updates, the maps themselves, Marvel Rivals is 11 out of 10 right now. They are clicking across the board. We're going into game 3, and Virtus.pro also in control. Is it a sweep incoming?
Starting to look that way, Bucket. I mean, Team Peps, they've got to find an answer here. They did throw the Protect on the Storm, though, so maybe that's something that could come out for Leaf. We saw him bring it out a little bit in the last series. Maybe that's a way to disrupt some of these combos. Namor has also been taken out. So VP at least are going to have to reach a little bit deeper into their bag of tricks, show us something we haven't seen before.
Could honestly say the same of Peps here, though, because they really did lean on that hardest Namor pick. Okay, we spawn trapping here. Is that the idea? Okay, well, that looks a kill. Oh, buddy. Straight out of spawn, I just get shot in the face.
Ironically, I think that kill just doesn't matter at all because they're still trapped in the spawn. Like, it just makes no difference.
And look at how quickly they're clearing the map here. So Nevix wants to make sure that no one can be sort of snuck in and sort of flanked to wrap around them. No Wolverine here. Obviously, for Team Peps is not on the table, which is definitely something they've used here a whole lot. They're going to have to play some honest Marvel Rivals. Fido is going to be on. That Star-Lord. Definitely looking to see that make an impact. And Leaf on the Storm definitely has some good high ground to work with, but I don't know. It can be shut down pretty easily by flankers using that very same high ground.
Yeah, Star-Lord's pretty potent at chasing down some of those flyers, bursting them. Storm doesn't have the best survivability, but a pull in immediately onto the Groot. Teemo trying to be saved by his team, gets the bulwark from Magneto. It seems to be enough to get him out of trouble.
Okay, from the backline, Hardest just wants to play here. Oh, buddy, that is a great pull in from Saipe. And look at the damage follow-up. It's so simple. It's just an ability that can push or pull. Starts off a landslide fight for Virtus.pro, and they are going to run Peps into the ground.
I mean, Saipe may be the best invisible woman in the world right now. I mean, really, really impressive, very consistent performance when it comes to, you think about map 1 with how many ultimates he's completely shutting down. He's almost always having his ultimate up first online.
Force physics, man. It is a hell of an ability. So you see that Leaf is trying to establish like a footing on that high ground, but yeah, Fire is just denying it. Sparker playing from the other angle, getting really good damage in. Ready for crack and impact now as Teemo is getting chunked in the front line. Okay, time for a Mega Hurricane. This will have to be one of those strategist ultimates. Pop straight away. Invisible Barrier is the call from Saipe. Throws that one down. Peps here had to use one of their own by the looks of things. And if I'm Fire, I'm licking my lips, looking for a chance to go in with this legend. Here it is. Fate of both worlds going to be used. Kraken Impact debuff is applied, but nobody on Pep's going low enough to give any reset potential. Over to Sparker, and Nevix goes down first. Eye of Agamotto going to be used, and that caught Teemo and Leaf out. Big eye from Finzi. Huge, in fact. Sparker is able to clean up the rest of the fight, even if the Kraken Impact didn't get max value. He goes to town with the rest of his abilities, and it's another wipe for the defenders.
Yeah, Finzi and Nevix working together so well in the tank line, and the double pull threat from not only Invisible Woman, but also the Winter Soldier, cycling onto these tanks. And Team Peps have constantly been starting these fights on the back foot. They do have one pickup, but the spawners should be back soon. And Virtus.pro is giving no ground right now. 1:30 left on the clock, and Team Peps have barely left their spawn.
They have been locked in, and not in the good way, folks. Okay, nice. Stun there. Two of those VP players drawn forward, and Finzi wasn't quite able to get away. Nevix, can he escape? The Groot stays alive for now. Great Invisible Woman healing. There's a Kraken Impact waiting in the wings now, with Peps do not have any of those big healing ultimates. But Omega Hurricane is on deck here for Peps, or near enough. Virtus.pro just want to disengage.
Hardest wants to find one more, just can't quite get the hook connection. Virtus.pro licking their wounds, retreating incredibly well here, keeping players alive, keeping the pressure on Team Peps, not letting them get full map control. It's going to get them one more solid fight here with the Omega Hurricane available for Leaf, going straight to the back line.
Gave Cypher time, though, to get this invisible boundary. Jake, and he gets thrown down instantly. 5 falls. Leaf traded out, though. It's a 1-for-1 now as the Kraken Impact is used, and Peps actually have to play right to the edges of their own invisible barrier. Here's Hardest, drops on in now, does apply the debuff to both Finzi and Nevix, and there's a Strangling Prison in play. The combo potential isn't quite there, though, for Virtus.pro, and it's a Groot ultimate that goes for essentially nothing. Cypher goes down in the end, looks like a Meteor M accounted for that healer. Now Virtus.pro have to lean on this Fate of Both Worlds to buy a little bit of time. Eye of Agamotto for Finzi, interrupted, he got frozen stiff. Nicely done by Switch to stun the enemy Octastrange.
But the fallback had to come through for Team Peps, and they had to give up Teemo in the process. So VP staggering this one out well. Now Sparker, we've seen this time and time again. He's starting to clutch this fight. So many huge eliminations again and again here with the Winter Soldier. And that's a clean up, a full hold on first point. Virtus.pro charging ahead to what could be a 3-0 lead in this series.
This is one of the most one-sided rounds that we've seen today, Jake. Team Peps barely get out of spawn. In fact, the second they step out, they have a player shot in the face by Sparker. And frankly, things don't get much better for them over the course of the round. In a fight with Virtus.pro, we're on the back foot, or at least it seemed that way. They're able to hold on, and Sparker is the one that produces a beautiful 3+ kill streak with that Kraken Impact to save the round and turn this into a checkpointless push for Peps.
Peps, mentally speaking, you've got to be in such a dark place right now. You know, these fights have been brutal. You've been punished at every turn. Every time you get a little bit of an advantage, VP is so scrappy. They're constantly turning those advantages back against you. And on the flip side, when VP takes an inch, they just sweep forward, clean you off the map, taking miles.
30 seconds before you attack.
And now I think the win condition is pretty straightforward for VP. Just push most of the way through this first phase of the map. You can see here with the Storm Protect, Team Peps did make extensive use of it. We saw Leaf with a lot of Storm action, but frankly, no one really was able to do enough. Sparker at 14.
He is crushing them. What the heck?
That is excessive. The next closest, I think, is like at 9. So Sparker leading the charge here. Again, exactly. Yes, out of the gates we come. No cheeky spawn traps here for Peps, and that honest gameplay might cost them.
Well, but they maybe value the TP more for a retake attempt, given that, you know, they have to make a full hold here. So I actually think it's a wise decision in the situation.
Great point. Yeah, it's a really long cooldown ability, right? Multiple minutes, in fact. So not having that available could be their death sentence. Up they push, though. Finzi trying to go for it. Big damage on that front line. Switch also feeling the heat as Peps go for the signature hide in the corner strategy. Trying to play around these Groot walls, but there's Natlocks blown to smithereens by the Maelstrom. And Switch has to back up here. Ice Art's pop to give a bit of self-heal over towards that Lunar Snow, but it's not enough. Finzi just casts a glance in the direction of the Lunar Snow and takes him down.
He's so ready. He's trying to block this next spawn, deny any kind of a retake here. Looks like he's thinking about it. I'm not sure if he's actually going to be able to do much here.
I think he realizes he can't at this point.
Oh, he's going to make it so it's awkward to touch by putting the portals in front of the cart there.
block line of sight here.
Oh, it's using it as a shield. Finzi continuing to innovate on the Strange.
Yeah, that is going to be tough here. You, of course, yeah, you can shoot through it, I guess, but you need to physically be on the point. So Shu dives on in. Here we go, folks. It's about to get awful and messy. Sparker drops on in. Another cracking impact. And Agamotto that catches everybody on the side of Peps, and they are fed into the wood chipper. Nothing but guts and gore out there, folks. It's brutal. And Virtus.pro take a very, very quick and dirty midtown.
3-0, Mitch. And with how close that last series was, Team Peps, and Luminosity went to 5 back and forth across the entire match there. I was thinking, maybe this Team Peps squad could come out stronger, could really put a test on Virtus.pro, but right now, Virtus.pro just looks like the best team in Europe, bar none.
Jeez, I'm talking about making up for lost time, Jake. We had a 3-hour best of 5, and we're going to have a 1-hour best of 7. Okay, well, I suppose I've seen stranger things, but this has been a dominant series so far, and Sparker almost hits 20k damage in an absurdly short game.
Dude, he almost had another 22 final blows in a game that was about 1/3 as long. He's just eating them. It's 0 deaths, just 0 deaths. Just 24-0. Just 24-0 on my Winter Soldier. Surely you can be Winter Soldier, right?
This doesn't die. He cannot die.
He's almost doubling up on hardest in the damage. I mean, it is a brutal loss, so the stats are always going to be skewed. But I mean, doubling up on somebody, that's dangerous territory, Mitch.
Yeah, I mean, and Sparker has played on some of the biggest stages in esports. This guy has been around. You think that this is going to rattle him? Much as we would like to think Rivals Fight Night is something that our teams put on their calendar, and I'm sure they do. But tell you what, he has been out there in the roar of the crowd, and yeah, this is another day at the office for him. Wow, let's try and go back over some of these highlights, because basically this is going to be the whole map here. It's about the same duration. Storm play here for Peps, right? Leaf trying to get that high ground. They eventually are able to break through, but there's this fight here where Agamotto gets interrupted, and Virtus.pro have Sparker come out and find this big multi-kill Kraken impact.
Just the focus fire is so impressive. I almost feel like you need to take the Winter Soldier away from Sparker, not only because he's individually such a monster on this character. He's starting so many fights with hooks. I mean, his raw damage output is just ridiculous, server topping. And it's not that you're going to put him on another hero and he's going to not do as well, but when VP get those execution markers from the Kraken impact, man, they focus fire so incredibly well. They're always getting the eliminations again and again and again. And I think it's really allowing Sparker to just explode way more than he normally would, even on another duelist character. So maybe for Team Peps, that's something you can start to attack.
All right, I'm chiming in here, Mitch, real quick. Can we just talk about the Strange? Finzi, that one game, I want to send it to all of my friends who suck at Strange. Be like, look what you can actually do on this hero. He was dominating, dealing out the damage, but Jake, we were wondering, what is he doing with the portals? He scouts exactly what's coming, when it's coming, and then to deny entrance so that you have an even easier push. You mentioned that we really appreciate when pros teach us something. I feel like the man isn't afraid to showcase his skills here on Rivals Fight Night.
That's a great call-up. Like, I think Finzi is really showing me some new things I didn't even think about on the Strange. I've seen the TP spawn block before. I think that's becoming pretty impressive. But like, for instance, on that last map, when he knew the enemy Strange would want to portal, so he builds a portal for his own attacking team to snipe down on the enemy defender spawn, deny them the chance to portal preemptively. There's levels to this, man. And so Finzi, clearly a master on the Doctor Strange, showing many different styles. The portal, such an inherently creative ability, right? It just connects 2 parts of the map, creates a portal through time and space. But the many options you have to use that in all these strategically different ways, Finzi is putting on a masterclass.
And before you try it in your own games, it doesn't work on defense. You have to be riding the cart so you can stay in the action while playing with your circles. We got to go to a break.
My circles bucket. I don't care about the fight.
Before we go, we are currently at 979 followers here on our Twitch channel. We opened the channel today. My goal was to get to 1,000 followers on Twitch and 500 subscribers on YouTube before North America kicks off. Virtus.pro is speeding up the clock, so please spam the button right now as we go to break. Hit the follow, hit the subscribe. We got Game 4 on the other side. Take a screenshot, send it to your mom because it's the most handsome trio you're going to hear in Marvel Rivals. We got Uber and Jake on the mic. I get to direct this show into chaos, and we asked you earlier for some fantastic combo names. Shout out to our co-streamers. Seagull Stream has the best answer so far. But Jake, I know you got a lot of friends who are tuning in and showcasing Marvel Rivals. Anyone you want to shout out?
I got to shout out Boger, for coming on for a quick co-stream. He's been really popping off in Marvel Rivals, played other games in the genre, but I think really has been, finding the limelight as a Doctor Strange expert. I'm sure he's watching and being really interested by all the plays that Finzi is pulling off on the hero and really pushing the limits there. So shout out Boger. Thanks for watching the stream, man.
Uber, I know you're always carrying Mr. X no matter what game you're playing. Recently, it's Marvel Rivals. So what have you learned tonight from our pro players that you can teach Matt to maybe enhance his game?
I mean, there's no point because he doesn't really listen and he actively tries to throw my games. But I generally think as like someone who's like playing Doctor Strange every now and then, I just don't think enough about portals. I maybe sometimes think about it off the rip here, but what you can do with it, which it's such a powerful ability. That's why it's got such a long cooldown. And also I do play a bit of Invisible Woman. I think her ability to shut down some of those proximity based ultimates is really impactful. The ability is not that easy to use, right? It's more of a cylinder, so you've got to have that decent aim and decent timing. But if you can get it off, man, you can really turn a fight in your favor.
We're about to get into what could be the final round. We saw Team Peps tried to hit F5. The surrender vote did not pass, so we will see a fourth game. Virtus.pro has been abusing the competition. No, but shout out to Peps because this has been a grueler, right? You played a 3-hour best of 5. Now you played a tight game 1, a rough game 2, and a brutal game 3. Jake, it's still your map. How do you stay alive? How do you force a game 7 and to keep Uber in debt paying babysitters?
It is totally fine, Bucket. You take it to your third best map with your third map pick of the series, and surely your third best map is the one that you have the best hope of starting this reverse sweep as we're going to symbiotic servers. It's a map we haven't seen today. It's a bit of a change up here.
We like it. Full hold incoming here, Uber.
It is the kind of map where you can do this pretty well. I mean, the original defensive location is a cul-de-sac, a little bit different to Shin Shibuya as it has like that high ground around it. It can be a little bit hard to attack this point. You need a dive comp that really gets deep because the defenders often make use of Groot here. And by make use of, I mean abuse. It's really hard to get through that long straight away. And you'll see teams start to break the map geometry to try and break the map literally to find ways to sneak through. I think Storm's really powerful here defensively. The point is made for her just area of effect, and she's usually able to stay pretty safe by tucking into a corner. So this will be very difficult for Peps. VP's defense has been just rock solid so far.
I'll be honest, I zoned out. The word cul-de-sac broke my brain. I did not think we were going to hear a gaming zone described in neighborhood fashion. So once they break into the cul-de-sac, they're going to try and make their way down the main street. Jake, favorite player to watch in this lobby? If we can give a shout to the observers before we jump into the game. We've been giving a lot of love to Sparker, but if I remove him from the list, who do you want to watch?
I am a Groot enjoyer, so I kind of want to see a little bit more Nevix. I want to see what he's cooking up, how he's kind of crafting these team fights with the use of those walls and the ability to cut up the opposition, to set up in crucial moments, and also to start these big Guambo combos off when he opens up with the Strangling Prison.
All right, here we go, Uber. It's ban time. There's Hella. A lot of diverse decisions being made by the coaching staff over at Peps.
Really, I think they should have let the Hella through, actually.
Yeah. Right? Just see what happens. It can't hurt.
Yeah. You're down 3-0. Clearly, the approach isn't working.
Hardest. Come on, bro. Suck up. Play some Hella. It's fine.
Can we protect the Wolverine next time around? Is there a way we can change the ban and protect order to where it's protect, then ban?
That would be kind of busted, I think. I think you need the time to like ban that broken thing out, right? But you know what? I'm fine with it. Okay, Storm Protect, right? I did think that she would be kind of really highly valued on this map. It's pokey. The pokey map, The cul-de-sac is pokey.
Loki, you got to ban Loki here.
Do the pokey Loki?
The double Luna Snow ultimate. That's the Namor.
Yeah, Namor.
I mean, that team up is so powerful, and it's really been a key combo piece for VP and their ability to, one hit with that Namor combo. But the Loki ban's taken away. They're looking out for you, Chris Bucket. No,
honestly,
double Snow ultimate.
I think you got to minimize the damage that could come out if you let them run a Loki for Virtus.pro on the other side as well. Storm and Loki, never fun to play against. They don't have to deal with this one, but you do have to deal with Sparker. He's probably going to be playing on Bucky, aka the Winter Soldier, once again. We're going to Symbiotic Surface. Will we see a full hold? Best defensive players, and is there a chance we'll see a Squirrel Girl like the chat is demanding?
All right, Squirrel Girl low-key goes crazy on this map,
Right?
but I don't know if we're going to see it come out here. I mean, it's a team like Virtus.pro. Maybe VP pull it out, style in their opposition. But I honestly think if you're VP, you want to really make your mark here on Rivals Fight Night. This is our inaugural tournament. You want to solidify a serious position as champion, and a 4-0 is the way to do that.
How are you going to bust your way through, though, is the big question. VP with the expected defensive comp, the Storm and the Winter Soldier here. I don't think Human Torch is going to be something that we see. Although they have a bit more of the aerial mobility than the Storm. They're not good at fighting other airborne targets. So it's going to be Leaf on the Storm here. Similar looks. There's a world where like you maybe go for that Rocket Raccoon to keep the pressure on and also to make it so Hardest doesn't have to reload.
They're going for it. And I mean, there is that team up with the Winter Soldier is pretty powerful. The Res Beacon can at times be pretty effective. See if it's enough. Both teams, though, going for the Storm. Both teams valuing the vertical mobility, the poking potential. But Nevix, I mean, look at that nice trap he set up in the side room. You come in here, you could be cooked by those group walls.
Yeah, you've got to be extremely careful. You can see the walls in play. Shu aware of them now. Peps are trying to feel this out a little bit, just poking and prodding. So they're going to take the front door here, oddly enough. Cypher definitely was put under pressure for a brief time. That looks like they're on the wrap here. Wall in the face of Hardest. He's trying to break through it. Finzi low, but you've got a world-class couple of strategists here on the VP side of things. Here, though, Hardest now has that team-up benefit of the infinite ammo with Roster Stern. Very powerful. Feels like you don't want to mix your other abilities in for the reload, but they are, of course, impactful. Bionic Arm is going to drag Nevix out of formation, but there's enough heal. Leaf went down, but brought back into the fight by the BRB, but Shu will not have that same privilege.
Cosmic Yard Amplifier now coming out. So Team Peps committing with their comp. They're all dead. Mitch, they're all dead. No one's there to use the Cosmic Yard Amplifier.
Yeah, they don't call it see you for nothing. Or at least that's what Team Peps weren't hoping. But again, that is sometimes the risk here, right? The Rocket Raccoon doesn't have one of those just straight healing throughput base ultimates. And you don't have the access to Loki, so you can't duplicate your Lunar Snow. You need to bring in this Invisible Woman. So now I think we're going to have Peps have to behave a bit more, go for a different strategy, something a bit more robust here with, God, just another healing ultimate.
They're so powerful, you know, the defensive utility from them. And then trying to make use of those resurrects on attack is pretty difficult with the Rocket Raccoon. But Virtus.pro, they've got a full bank of ultimates here in the series. It's up to Team Peps to somehow break this open. We see some kind of individual heroics here. It's clear when it comes to the ultimate game, VP is pretty much unmatched. And already they found one, already an opener into the fight.
Yeah, I have Agamotto connecting there, and it was a clap from Dridro that claimed the elimination. Finzi is down, though. There it is. Strangling Prison used, and it's going to be tough there for Hardest to stay alive. A Mega Hurricane used by both Storms are simultaneously there. Messy stuff, but it is Virtus.pro that outlasted. I got bad news for you, Peps. VP have both their strategist ultimates ready.
Oh, man, the damage potential with this Storm aura is pretty massive. Luna Snow as well, continuing to amp up Storm, and Fi able to put on a show and a hero we haven't seen so much in the series.
Here we come. Now remember, a lot of Winter Soldier's abilities can be AoE. If people are grouped up in a choke like this, Bionic Arm can catch multiple people. Roster Stern also splashes to targets behind the first. Cursed Voltage is an AoE ability. So it's pretty scary. You're trying to filter through this choke and you're getting pounded by all those abilities. I think Sparky got like a 4K hook earlier on. Hardest is down though. And on the back foot is Shu. In more ways than one, apparently. All of Team Peps forced into a full-scale retreat, and still, none of the strategist ultimates have been forced out of Virtus.pro. Peps have not done enough to put pressure on them now. And Timo just watches Shu disintegrate right before his very eyes.
Mitch, they're getting spawn camp. VP already starting to talk about how they're going to spend that victory check as our first champion of the Marvel Rivals Invitational here in Europe. And Team Peps so far have found no purchase on this offense, nothing they can work with. VP still hanging on to the Devil Strategist ult, ready to counter any kind of aggression that could come out from these attackers.
Nevix just utterly denies that right side now. Peps forced to play from the left, and they are spotted out already. Trying to poke, but Dridro and Cyper are big chilling. Peps will have both of their strategist ultimates to play with. They've been able to come back around to those, and here we go. We need a big strangling prison. We need a big combo here from Team Peps to break through Virtus.pro, but here come those strategist ultimates. Switch and Natlox lay theirs together. Use them at the same time. Dredro is going to have a healing ultimate later to use after that won't be challenged. Spy does go down. There's an Omega Hurricane in play for Leaf, and now they're hit with that debuff, though the Kraken impact has left its mark, and here come Virtus.pro. Dredro with a fate of both worlds. Leaf gets claimed. That is a big Eye of Agamotto, frozen stiff. Peps, and Sparker comes into Platinum.
Oy, oy, oy. It's a full hold. And now, I mean, Virtus.pro, they only have to capture a single tick on this offense to claim the championship here in Europe. It feels like Team Peps mentally broken at this point with the level of dominance Virtus.pro has put on.
Not even remotely close here. Virtus.pro might have dropped the map to them recently, but they've seemed to have hit a surge in form that is very hard to match. Curious to see if we get the Rocket Raccoon coming out from them, because Sparker definitely seems to play. Oh, sorry. 10k damage on a pretty short round there. Sparker definitely seems to be the player that can benefit from that infinite ammunition.
Sparker's just the GOAT, man. This guy, so sick. Not only putting down monstrous levels of damage, but also constantly finding these hooks, constantly opening up the team fights for the squad. And the combo, the synergy from the rest of them. I will say from Teemo, that was kind of a sweet strangling prison that pulled somebody out of the invisible barrier, allowed them to get one opening pick. But VP, I mean, even when they lose one, even when a pick goes against them, they do not give up. They don't give an inch. In fact, they continue to push the aggression, even when they're down players, even when the fight's against them. And that's a mark of an elite team, a team that, you know, can bend before breaking.
Okay, that is a visual bug there. Leaf does not have their ultimate active right now. That would be quite strange, considering we are now heading over to the second half. And remember, only 2 ticks is what Virtus.pro needs on this first point. Well, we are not going to see very much of Clintar.
Just the one, I think. I believe.
Oh, you're right. Counting from the other direction, excuse me. That is even worse for Peps, naturally.
Peps, what do they have here? What's left in the tank? Maybe a hook. At least one team fight here. Give us something. Battle back. Challenge Virtus.pro. Don't let them take the throne for free.
Big damage on that front line. Shoes. Oh, buddy. He just ceased to exist right there. Okay. You're in deep trouble now. Just the one tick, as Jake pointed out. Finzi was low, but is going to be brought back to health. And now Shu might have to just portal back into this fight. Going to have to be quick about it, though, as Teemo now starting to suffer some pressure on the absence of their other tank player. And the invisible boundary is enough. Peps are forced off the point. It's a full-scale retreat. White flags waved, and Virtus.pro take a sweep in this series.
Oh, you don't be hitting the French team with the white flags, Mitch. That's too much. That's too much. But Virtus.pro, I mean, you got to give it to them. Our first champion's undeniable. And you've got to wonder, after a performance like this, will we be seeing a repeat championship time and time again? Because this wasn't just a 4-0. I mean, this was an obliteration by Virtus.pro. I mean, if there are levels to this game, there's a couple of them between these two teams.
Absolutely. Virtus.pro, obviously, we put them in this game because we felt like they'd be the strongest team. And yes, they have become our inaugural Rivals Fight Night champions for EU. We're going to have to get Lime Pro and the Fnatic boys out here to see if they can challenge this team, because right now they look head and shoulders above the best that Europe have to offer. Puckett, what a showing. And I tell you what, they saved me some sweet babysitter money. So honestly, my heart goes out to the boys. They're still doing me good after all these years.
Yeah, Nevix and Finzi, they owe us a few favors. You made them look good for many years. Uber, I got to give you a shout out. Still, I think the best play-by-play in the business, hands down, regardless of game. How did you pick up all of these heroes, all of these characters, all of these abilities with a short time span, knowing as much work as you're doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, casting is a full-time job. I'll do it 40 hours a week. I cast 5 days a week, and then I spend my evenings being bad at games or watching VODs. So it's basically my hobby and my vocation combined. It's the only way I can squeeze it in, brother. You know how it is. You know the hustle.
Still staying healthy as well. Shout out to my guy Jake as well. The knowledge bombs throughout the show. Jake, for anyone who missed the earlier parts, what did you learn that's new? Because I know you're already 19-2. You're at the top of the heap on the leaderboard.
Dominating.
How are you going to be 20-2 after tonight?
Well, I'm excited to play a little bit of Winter Soldier. I mean, honestly, the performance is put on. It's clear that to be at the top level, you really need to have Winter Soldier in your duelist kit. It's a character that I haven't played so much of, so I'm really excited to try to bring that out to learn a little bit more. And I mean, there was real masterclasses put on by Hardest, by even Leaf brought it out at times. But really, you got to put the crown where it belongs on Sparker. I mean, head and shoulders above on the Winter Soldier.
Who is your MVP? Well, you can find him 3 times in the top 10. He goes by the name of Sparker, and he is signed by Virtus.pro. The Bucky, devastating, hamburger helper, ground and pound, whatever you want to call it. Sparker had the highlights. Walk me through some of the best ones, Uber.
Okay, I mean, again, Sparker is massive. Like, you know, going back to the start of this series, like, he's playing off angles at times. He's just looking for these picks, right? Constantly pulling enemy tanks out of position or disrupting a Venom. It doesn't feel like sometimes at low levels there's much you can do against Venom. He's always in your face, he's always pushing you. But Winter Soldier's perfectly geared to deal with him. Pull him in, knock him up, knock him back, hit him where it hurts. I mean, you know, Winter Soldier kind of does everything. And it's important to point out that tainted voltage also grounds airborne units. So there's niche applications for Winter Soldier to basically have game against every single other hero in Marvel Rivals. There aren't any true counters to Winter Soldier, I think. And no, but you got someone like Sparker at the helm here who's able then to, you know, have these big ultimates. We talked about how even against a big healing ultimates, it's still reasonable to try and go in with his Kraken impact and get all those debuffs applied so you can get resets later in the fight, because that duration is quite long. It's 8 seconds, right? You have 8 seconds to get somebody to that threshold of health to get your resets. So it's such a powerful hero, and really it's the star player's prerogative to pick up the Winter Soldier and take the game over.
You know how you banned Wolverine against Leaf? Maybe you want to ban this guy against Sparker.
Yeah, I feel like maybe this would have slowed him down a bit. This only makes me more excited to see, you know, what else Sparker has in the tank. Because with gameplay like this on the Winter Soldier, you better believe this guy does something nasty on the Hela. You know, something he can bring out on absolutely any character in the game, and, you know, storied player in the genre. It's great to see him here on Marvel Rivals. And I love that you were mentioning, Mitch, like, I want to see this guy on LAN. You know, I want to see this whole Virtus.pro taking it to the rest of the world, because right now, maybe there's no challengers in Europe. I mean, we didn't see much here today in the Marvel Rivals Invitational. We're going to have to get some more teams on next week, see if anybody can take Sparker to task and potentially match his performance on the Winter Soldier.
Man, it's so sick. I do want to say that, like, I'm so glad we could have a team like Peps here, because their fan base are completely unmatched. Like, there are no fans like French fans, especially the Peps army. So big shout out to Fefe and what he's built with Team Peps, and big shout out to them who, you know, this is a gut punch series for them to get swept in, but they've been in the chat supporting the whole time. So big love to them, and thanks Fefe for the raid as well.
Yes, the Peps fans have been loud since the very start of the show, even before we began. Thank you for being here. Great showcase against Luminosity Gaming. Virtus.pro, though, was on a different level. They are the final boss in Europe, and for their efforts, they will take home $1,000. Give a shout out to Phi, Sparker, Nevix, Finzi, Drydro, and Saipe. It's basically the whole European Union. I love it.
Yep.
Uber, final thoughts before we let you go back to your kids tonight.
Thank you. Yes, I'm great to be here. I think we're starting off something fantastic. Just really thankful, honestly, for everybody who turned up. Thanks for the teams for giving their time and coming and playing. We hope to only make this a bigger project. Big shout outs to VP. I can only hope the gap in EU closes a little bit more as time goes on, because I'd love to see these Peps fans at big events as well. Looking forward to more, Big Pucket. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And for you, Jake, if I recently came into a lot of personal money that I want to waste on professional training from Jake Overwatch, how do I get that done?
Look, I'm more focused here on the talent work now. I think this is my calling. My real enjoyment here is taking it to, you know, these top level players and getting to tell the stories of the best players in the world. So I just super happy to be here, to be able to watch a team like Virtus.pro put in work, and I'm just really looking forward to the future in Marvel Rivals, to getting to, you know, LANs or who knows what comes next in the future of the game. Excited to be a part of building that here in Rivals Fight Night. We're going to be back for more week after week, bringing you the best of the best in NA and Europe for now. So I just, like you guys said, I want to shout out the fans for coming out, for supporting this as we kick it off here, getting started. But we have a long way to go and really big ambitions here at Rivals Fight Night.
$4.99 to get out of dime, and hit up Jake OW on Twitter. In the meantime, we're going to a break. When we come back, I am going to rinse this board, bring in some fresh casters, and we are going to reset as we head over to NA. See you in a minute.
Again.